Nancy Carrington, thank you so much for being on to talk about the Connecticut Food Bank, and you have decades of experience of being there. I want to talk about the real numbers in Connecticut. How many are food challenged, the number of children in poverty in this state, the need for food, because I often think we don't know what's really going on in the state of Connecticut. You've been there a long time. Give me some figures that might shock me about people who are hungry in the state of Connecticut.
Well, you know, according to the USDA and the Census Bureau, there are some 500,000 people in the state of Connecticut who are food insecure.
What does that mean?
Now, that means they don't necessarily always know where their next meal is coming from. And of that number, children make up one in 5 children are food insecure, so they're part of that number of the 500,000.
Does that put them at the poverty level? Is that what we're talking, or you're talking about food insecure? Because we're a state of arguably about 3 million. When you bring up the number 500,000, that is a lot of folks.
Well, you know, the matter is it's not just a matter of poverty level, because the poverty level, of course, is a federal number. And it can cost a whole lot more to live in Connecticut than it does in Alabama, for instance. So the poverty level for a family of 4 is $24,250 for a family of 4.
You've been the CEO and president how long?
For 25 years.
Is it getting better or worse?
Sadly, it is getting worse. Worse in the sense that there are more people than ever before. Worse in the sense that we distributed the most food we ever did in our 32 years of existence last year, which was just over 21 million pounds of food. Now, pounds is hard to equate because most of us don't weigh our groceries, right. But nonetheless, that's about 17 million meals. I'm very proud of that. I'm glad that we did that, but we did not end hunger. So the need is great, and it has not, we haven't seen the numbers go down despite our work.
Since 2008, when the Great Recession happened, is that when you started to see a marked difference in families in this state? Yes,
absolutely. And what I learned is at the time of the recession there, some 23% of the jobs, let me see if I can get this straight in my head, there were more mid-wage jobs lost than there were low-wage jobs. But now that the economy has begun to turn around, there are more low-wage jobs being created than there are mid-wage jobs. So there are more people who were earning a middle income who are now working those low-wage jobs, and the folks who had the low-wage jobs and lost their jobs are very likely not able to compete with that other wage market. So people, and coupled with the fact that I think more and more people are working multiple part-time jobs. They may be working 40 hours a week, but they are working without benefits, they're working without health insurance, and as they say, even working part-time, they're not making a go of it, or full-time.
The Connecticut Food Bank started in 1982.
Right.
You have warehouses around the state. How many warehouses? And you also have mobile trucks now going out into neighborhoods. Tell me a little bit about that.
That's right. We have 3 warehouses that we own and operate, one in Waterbury, one in Fairfield, and the one that's our main facility in East Haven. I also have, we provide food over 6 of Connecticut's 8 counties, all but Hartford and Tolland County in the north central part of the state, and a sister food bank who is part of the same national network serves those 2 counties. Our national network, Feeding America, assigns service areas, and ours is those 6 counties. We have contracts with a food bank in New London to serve New London County, and one down in Stamford to serve the 6 towns down in that lower southwestern corner of the state. We've had to adapt over the years, and maybe that's one of the things that I marvel at. My first job at the food bank was to find food. And in those days, it was not too hard to do. There was a lot of surplus food from the retail segment. There was not a lot of refrigerated or frozen product. But when you think back 30 years, and I'm sure many people listening weren't alive then, but
Some of us were.
a few of us were. And remember that there was a lot more shelf-stable food at that point in time. And fast forward to today, there's an awful lot more refrigerated or frozen or...
Is that problematic?
Well, it is problematic in that you need to have the facilities to be able to store those refrigerated or frozen foods. And we have outgrown our space in East Haven, and our Waterbury facility is not adequate to our needs either. So we are, in fact, in the quiet phase of a capital campaign to build a new warehouse, which will be located in Wallingford.
To feed more people because there's more need and there's more refrigerated foods that you have to hand out.
That's right. We find at times we are needing to turn food away. We send it to another food bank, but we turn it away because we don't have space for it. And usually that is for refrigerated or frozen foods. There are situations where we have to turn away volunteer groups. If a corporation wants to bring in 50 people, I can't accommodate, and they want to volunteer helping to sort food in the warehouse, I can't accommodate that many people at a time. So we are, with this new facility, we will have 6 times the refrigerated capacity that we have now, and we'll be able to handle 3 times as many volunteers.
So you have 17 million meals you're handing out every year. That's last year, was that 2013?
That's right.
Is that number going to go up?
Well, in and as we are financially able to do more, we need the space. That is one critical factor, such that we can take in particularly that refrigerated and frozen product. And finances come into it, because some of the food that way back when I would get notifications of tractor-trailer loads of potatoes that were available to us free of charge. They'll drive them to your door. And today we have to pay for the potatoes to be dug from the ground, bags or boxes for them to be put in, and the transportation to get them to us.
Why do you have to pay for all this now?
Well, it's a cost of business that growers have, that they have to have, you know, they have to be able to pay their bills too.
What are the answers? I mean, we can build more and more facilities, we can get more and more mobile trucks, we can get more and more volunteers. At some point, don't we have to stop? Don't we have to end hunger?
Well, absolutely. That is, you know, my mantra for years has been, I wish I would put myself out of a job. And that hasn't come to play. I think that ultimately it's all a matter of what people are earning, right? What money do they have in their pocket to enable them to go to the grocery store and buy what they would like? There's no want of food in the grocery store, except the time of a storm when maybe bread and milk are low. There is plenty of food available. I'm so mindful of that when I do my own grocery shopping. And to realize there are people that just, that have, you know, a few dollars in their pocket, they walk into that store, how overwhelming it is.
How do we fix this? You've spent almost 30 years with the Connecticut Food Bank in various different jobs. Where do we start as a state to try to fix this? Because when children are hungry, they can't learn. So how do we fix this? How do we begin to fix this?
You know, they can't learn, they're more likely to get sick, they fall behind in school because of that, or because they can't pay attention in the classroom. One of the ways that we are working on combating that situation for children, and too many teachers or nurses do report that on Monday morning children are listless, or they complain of stomach aches or headaches, and all too often it's found they just didn't have enough to eat over the weekend. So one of the programs that we have is a kids backpack program. And with that, we purchase shelf-stable food that is in single-serve portions that when the schools where we partner on the last day of school for the week, the children go to a designated spot and have a bag of food put into their backpack. So it's a discreetly handled program. It will give them things like 2 low-sugared cereals with 2 boxes of shelf-stable milk, 2 100% fruit juices, 2 entree, maybe it's pasta and pasta shapes with meatballs and a
To
beef
get
stew,
them going through till Monday.
to
till they go
give
back
them
to
some
school.
extra nutrition.
A lot of folks do what they can to give to the food bank and to other sources. And they think about it at Thanksgiving time and they think about it at Christmas time. Hunger is year-round. What do we do as a population in the state of Connecticut to continue to help you guys give out the food? $1 means a lot in your business.
That's right. Although I mentioned we're paying for the produce that we are distributing these days, on average it's costing us about 23 cents a pound. That's more than the $0 that I paid in the beginning, but it's a very good price when you think about what all of us are paying when we go to the grocery store. So that $1 given to us can help us to acquire that many more pounds of fruits and vegetables or pay the transportation for other shelf-stable product that might be donated to us. So that's, we're encouraging people to try and think that way. We have a virtual food drive set up on our website that we can personalize one for an individual or for a business if they want to have a virtual food drive. People can go online and select a case of green beans for $10.
And it means
so
a lot.
forth.
It's just not, it means nutrition to a child. You're getting ready to leave your post in about 6 months or so after spending nearly 3 decades there. When you look back, what's on your wish list that something happens after you're gone?
Well, I guess
What do you hope
that's an
happens?
interesting thought. We have, as we are working on this new building and the design of it, I found myself thinking a lot. Well, when we're in the new building, we'll be able to do this, that, or the other thing. And part of the reason that I decided to retire at this juncture is that the new building is under construction. By the end of the year, it will be about half completed. And it is time for, after 30 years, it's time for new leadership. And it's a good point, I think, that someone new ideas can come into the position and take those ideas and carry them out in that new facility, that it can be brought to fruition by somebody who's there to see them through.
Well, Nancy, I think over the decades you've done an awesome job at Connecticut Food Bank.
Thank you.
And you're a passionate, caring person, and you've made a big difference in a lot of people's lives. And thank you for coming on and talking about some of the things, and we have to do better at ending hunger in Connecticut. So thank you for being here.
Thanks so much.
Spend all night kissing and the bump is right here, then who else is missing? Got a little sidetracked to find my solution. I find the keys to the door, but it's also a metaphor. Things keep locked in the grocery store of my mind. Just to save time, skip right ahead to the last ride. The harder we look, the less we can see. Don't you know, that you need me.